Okay, ready or not, I'm making this video. This is the vibe, and I'm digging. Thanks for coming back and checking me out. Okay, I made a video not too long ago about the sun and that temperatures were going to get hotter and hotter. And I saw something. Oh boy, when was it that I saw that? Okay, maybe even going as far back as 2000 and between 2001 or 2000 or wait, 1997 to 2011. I saw in between that gap of time. So whatever time that was. And anyway, I made this video, and this is where I'm getting it. I made this video because I thought to myself, this is extremely important. Like, it really is. It's your livelihood. You know, you're not going to come to this channel and find rhetoric. No. Everything about this is different, including my presentation or my personality relating to certain issues, and maybe that is because I'm not trying to sell anything. And this has got to go out there. It really does have to go out there. Okay, so this issue really weighed really heavy on my heart. I think I just remembered when I had seen it, and that would have been, I believe, the year 2000. I believe that was the year that I watched. They showed me this, and I instantly hit a depression. For about 2 months. I found it really difficult to talk. I couldn't stop grieving. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop writing because there wasn't anybody really that I could confide in. I mean, I would talk about it because I had to talk about it, or I would have burst. Um, and that was with, you know, people, your friends, and your family. But I mean, that's where it goes, and that stayed with me. And there was a lot of prayers. I had a lot of questions because it just really scared the living bejesus out of me. And where I am in the here and now, I am trying to put them in some type of order, because there is no chronological order. Um, and I do question because of the visions. You know, I'm sometimes like, what? How does this? What? Okay, I really need just to stop driving myself crazy and stop scanning, because that's what I do. It's like I have yellow pages in my brain. You know, I just think of somewhere or think of something, and bang, I could just bring myself to that place or that time, that situation, and I mean, but we're all born with this gift. Okay, so where am I going with this? Wasn't sure what to make of this, and so um, I thought I'm going to discuss this with a trusted friend, somebody that I love and care about genuinely, and yeah, and I hope she realizes I love her too. So, okay, so I had said to her, listen, oh yeah, that's what it was. She said, what brought you to this place over there. And I did it, so she would look at me, long looks 2 or 3 times. And she wanted to see if I would crack or change my story or devise something else and veer off over there. And so I said to her, I think I told you I was on the back of a bear, and bear was just galloping. And I was like, whoa. And I said, where are we going? And bear said, for a ride. He was going for a run, or she. I didn't say he. Um, Even though the bear is female energy. So I'm like, oh, really, hey? All right. So you gonna tell me anything about this little journey that I'm taking and where we're headed and what this is about? Like a little bit of heads up would be nice. I mean, it's always very spontaneous, unexpected on my part. And then it begins, we've got to break down this puzzle and we've got to put it all together. And it doesn't mean I, as a human being, am happy that I find the end of that idea, because even though so understanding the bigger picture and two things, like I said, I do remember growing up and in the Bible, it did literally state, and it did. Where did it go? It was taken out. That it wasn't written in stone. I mean, this is how much God loves us. We even still had free will. Where we fail as human beings is we're not doing something special with it. We're not doing something good with it. We're not voicing ourselves, having the opportunity, but rather instead stifle ourselves in fear of rejection or embarrassing yourself. Really, and both are lies. Both of those are lies. Both of them are. I mean, they really are. Hey, Buzzy. Okay. So I said to her, hey, listen, I know this, and I know this um, um, is part of what I saw in the future at that time. And I said, the sun's going to be a real issue. And she said, the sun? I said, yeah, because when I was shown this pertaining to the sun, I all of a sudden found myself. I went to bed one day. All of a sudden, I found myself standing in Rome, talking with an angel, like an actual angel. And I was like, wow, I haven't been home forever. So I was literally just sucking in all the history and all the art and all the energy, and I mean, just beautiful. Uh, all those lands, that whole area is all really beautiful. Even countries around it is just really beautiful. And uh, I said, well, okay. He said, I'm here to tell you something that's really important. And it was to be a message. Now, the message is really dire. It's very bleak. Listen, I'm going to say this right now, really straightforward. Don't be mean. And I'll tell you why. Because when you get visions like this, or they tell you and show you and they ask something of you, you are all of a sudden divided. Some of the things are absolutely horrific. And mustering the guts to be able to put your face and your person in front of everybody's entertainment center, it's not as easy as one might think. I'm pretty sure even for a donkey, he would have to adjust, or she would have to adjust, whatever sex a donkey was. And so I said, okay. And then from there, the angel said, look, I'll explain it to you. And then, boom, we were standing in the Colosseum in Rome. And I'm looking, I'm like, where are we? Because I was like disorientated, and I wasn't given the understanding, or I was slow. I didn't understand that in that moment we were going to be in another spot, we were going to transport. And I'm like, oh no, 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 no. This is the Colosseum, isn't it? Oh my goodness. And I instantly thought of all the death, and I instantly thought of all the bloodshed and all the innocents that were slain and killed. And listen, Nero is supposed to be the darkest, and people are anticipating his spirit reincarnating. And this is the ruler, the emperor that would they would have Christians on poles, and they would go around lighting them on fire so they could be the light. Yeah, and that's enough to make me want to vomit. Now, the times we're moving into, apparently, is going to be worse than that. I know. We'll get to that video. Start chewing on that for a bit, and I'm telling you, the taste is bitter. It's real sour. So I said, oh, no, 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 we're in the Colosseum. And the angel said, yes. I said, what are we doing here? Oh my goodness. Are we here to watch, am I here to watch a crucifixion? Are they going to start crucifying Christians here again? And I went into this instant panic. And then I was reassured, no, that's not why you're here. And I really had to calm down. And so the angel said, calm down and look around. Take the time to look around. What do you see that is different? And of course, I said, no killing, no blood. My first words, my first thoughts. But in the process of that, I was looking around and, going, you learned this on Sesame Street. Which one out of the four doesn't belong? It just doesn't belong there. It's different. And so I was looking around and I'm thinking, what's different? What doesn't belong? And it dawned on me when I was brought there, there was a lot of activity. And when I had asked what the activity was, I was shown that they were reconstructing. They were reconstructing, I shouldn't say reconstructing as much as preservation of the Colosseum and bringing it updated so they could ultimately, it would end up being, people go there already to see the Colosseum and to imagine what people went through as you're, walking into the pit of hell. So I said, okay, we're not crucifying Christians. And what doesn't belong? And like I said, I was like, wait a minute, what work are they doing here? And what they were doing was wiring in electricity. And I said, that? And I was like, really? And so for jeepers, that word just escapes me. Tourist, that's the word. So for the tourists and for Rome, um, they upgraded the face without taking away, and they have wired in electricity. So in the evening it lights up, and you know, to think such a beautiful building and the horror that went on there is just unmanageable. It's really unmanageable. Okay, so I said the electricity, and the angel said correct. And I was like, okay, but what does this have to do with why I'm here? And the angel said, listen, scientists were going to get it all wrong. Their calculation was going to be wrong. Now, the calculation of time, the calculation of destination, um, uh, even even destiny, and I was like, what do you mean? Like you know, all of a sudden I thought I was panicked, but I was really panicked then. And in the midst of this, I was distracted by a woman, and she was wearing a sweetheart dress. It was navy blue, dark navy blue, and it had white polka dots. A real lovely dress, like you know, and that's probably why I noticed it. A white belt to go with it, because I just think those sweetheart dresses are darling. I mean, seriously, they really are feminine. Um, so I'm like, oh look, she's pushing a buggy, and she's got a baby in the buggy, and in the square was just packed. There was so many people there, so many people in the city, just walking around and this and that. It was kind of like I haven't been to New York, but I there's that one corner that's always used in films and whatever else like this, and just you know, looking at how many people there really are. And so when I got over my awe, that's so sweet. I loved the dress and the baby. Um, the public got my attention, like I said, and so I started to look around because I was still in a scenario of trying to, you know, put two and two together without myself, because I understood that yes, it would have been easy if I was given the answer, yes, but I wasn't supposed to be given the answer. This was homework, and I learned to understand it. So whenever it is homework, it's super important. Like it's within my soul, and I cannot rest until I've actually shared it. It's really that important. So as I was looking at the public, I said, um, okay, I'm still not connecting the dots, and scientists are going to miss what hour, um, what destination. You know, I think that I've missed something here, jumping or from one moment to the next. And he said, no. Did you just hear what I said? I said, yes, I did. And the angel said, look up. I said, look up. I don't know what I'm looking for. He's like, you're looking at the sun. I said, I am looking at, or, or I said, what's up? He said, what's up? No, he said, look up. I said, what's up? And then I looked up and I said, what am I looking for? I'm confused. I don't know how all of these things come together. And he said at the at that point he repeated what he had told me, and that was scientists were going to get it wrong. The timing was wrong. How where it comes from, what impact, what they knew of it, scientists get it wrong. And I was instructed share this information. So I'm like, okay, I'm looking up. And as I was looking up, I said, what's that? He just said, what? I said, well, I see the sun, but what is that? It just seems like, what is that? Just a reflection of something? Like, what is that? And I wasn't getting the answer. I wasn't getting a answer. I just kept looking, going, what is that? What is that? And then all of a suddenly, uh, I was buried in death. And what I mean by buried in death is I was saying, what am I looking at? Oh no, oh no. And I started to scream, it's behind the sun. It's behind the sun. It is behind the sun. And as I continued to look, I looked again at that woman. She was a few yards past me. Like I said, we were in the square. And she was pushing the stroller, and that brought out another oh no. And then thought of everybody. Everybody I love, everybody I care about, everybody in the world. And I said, people need to know, oh no, oh no. There's no time, oh no. And I gasped and I went, and by the time I finished that gasp, all I remember was my mouth, my esophagus, everything. It just instantly burned. Instantly. That's what I felt. I felt the burning. I went, and as I did that, that was what happened. Now, fact is, and this is the fact, I knew after I did that, I ceased to exist. Die. I ceased to exist here on this earth. And like I said, uh, I really fell into a real deep depression and asking myself, tearing myself apart, looking for confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. And I just really was trying to prove everything that I saw wasn't real or it was wrong. I so tried. But the confirmations of other things that were shared have all transpired. So at, when, when do I put these two realities together and say I'm comfortable in my skin? Well, 50-50. I mean, I do have to work up to 100%. I know this, but that other 50% is my fear of not achieving bending someone's ear. And that to me is really scary because of how important these messages really are. So, what does that to do with the very beginning of this? The son in that moment, and I really did just want to, write it off. I really did. I really tried. I really argued with myself, and I just wasn't winning. Neither side of me was winning. And I thought, okay, well, it's one of these freaky things. I mean, I've had visions where I've seen them once. Like I said, my interpretation of the situation is because so much of what I've seen has come to pass. Like I realized it was like this big light bulb went off, and I was like, wow, people learn the Bible by reading it. I've learned the Bible by being brought there. That's just, yeah. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong, it's an awesome gift. I love it. I absolutely love it. And why I love it is because I love God. That's how it goes. So it makes sense that I would love it. I love our Lord. It makes sense. I love our mother. It makes sense. And so this I'm very grateful for. I've had to let certain things roll off, water off of a duck's back, and allow myself the experience so my skin could harden and I would be stronger internally by fulfilling a request that I agreed that I would do, and that is making these videos. So, okay, that's that. Way up north, way up north. A couple of years after that, maybe 8 years after that, all of a sudden, bang, I see it again. And this time, I don't know if I was awake or sleeping, I'll be honest with you. And I saw the exact same thing, but obviously the area was different. It's in Canada rather than Italy, and there was no getting away from it. So in that vision, I looked around and I knew that I was there. What ended up getting my attention that brought me there was news. I kept hearing the news, and this broadcaster stated that the problem with the waters began down south. And I thought, well, that's really weird because water runs downstream, so you wouldn't think that the problem started lower at the bottom, we'll say, on level land, and working its way up to how many feet above sea level, way up there in the mountains. I always say, when I'm at home and I look up at the sky, I always say I see God's face, because it does. Maybe there's one other mountain that's a bit taller, but people hyperventilate when they come visit me. The air is really thin. It's too funny. They're like, oh my goodness, and I don't know how many people I've heard say, I began to panic thinking I took the wrong turn. And where do I go? There's no civilization. I mean, there's no power. There's no civilization. There's no nothing. What are you talking about? You just have to keep on going. I tell them, Look, bring a jerry can of petroleum, of gas, because from one point to the next, from one gas station to the next gas station, you're looking at 8, 9 hours. Yeah, well, unless the town that I live just outside of, um, unless they're open at that hour and then take away an hour. Just, yeah. So there's no civilization really. I mean, you do end up coming across some B&Bs, renting out cabins, and they're hotels, but it's really rustic, like really rustic, like really, really, really rustic. But it's so beautiful. It's so clean. There's no pollution. You're so close to the earth, and the stars are just. So I was brought to that area riding on a bear, and the bear said, "We are following the eagle." I said, "What eagle?" And the bear said, "Why are you so blind? The eagle right in front of us." And I looked, and there was an eagle right in front of us. And I was like, "That eagle wasn't there. Was that eagle there?" And the bear said, "The eagle is our friend." And yes, the eagle was there. And I thought, what am I not looking at? What am I not wanting to look at? Well, in my state here and now, me in my time on this earth. And that's how I looked at that. And I said, well, what about um, getting God's word out there? What was shown? And he said, don't worry about it. It's you're. This is something you're supposed to do. Uh, they know, or my guide knows, that it will happen. And I said, are you certain? Because I don't want to be going, and God saying to me, look at, I asked you to share it. I showed you all of this. And, and I don't want to ever live with that thought that I never lived my lifetime. I never lived it out with, um, with more zest, I'm going to say, and more authority, um, because I guess because I guess because my moon is in Aquarius, it's all humanitarian for me. I look at the world and everybody as a whole. I have a very humanitarian way of looking at life, experiencing life, and so I prefer nature to cities, as I prefer being alone rather than having a phony friend. So I went up there, and I was supposed to learn about the sun again. And this weekend, because I don't have cable, I just think it's a waste of money. Um, I got to watch the news, and I was watching HLN. Um, and what did it say? It said exactly what the video that I had made not too long ago said about the sun. And that was that their anticipated numbers, okay, of the ocean losing all life is about 100%. They don't want to scare us. They're hoping that education, knowledge of this is just going to slide on by. No one's really going to catch it. Even the intelligent people won't catch it. They're really hoping, people are too consumed and too busy, you know, working, trying to get out of the hole and paying your taxes, which is absolutely a shame. Okay, so I was paying attention to the news, and it said the cities have already, there were people dying, and the cities were already displaying. I'm gonna, the word stress keeps coming to the forefront of my mind, but it was worse than that. It was worse than feeling stress. It was, it just was not, there was no happy life. What had just happened, nobody was prepared for. Um, some people going, oh my goodness, this is all real. What? And so I saw it making its way up. And I went, oh wow, okay. So we're way up here. We're going to be one of the last people to, for this to happen to. So with that note, I started thinking, okay, so that gives, me this pocket of time frame, and I have to get my family in order, get all the ducks in order, and say, look, we came all the way up to go back down. And the reason is because mountains are going to be displaced. Mountains are going to move. And there's also going to be mountains that are not going to be mountains. And land is going to disappear, and others are going to show their face. So, we really, the people that aren't impacted by this, they really have to have a plan. They really do. They so really do. And when I look at what was happening in the Colosseum, and I look at today, putting that together, Scripture says that hail the size of 100, 150 pounds each are going to fall from the sky. Okay, but that's another video. Right? Right now we're just staying focused on the sun. And so I started to go, okay, wow, like what was going on, down below, right? Because, like, where I live, it's like 7 hours down the mountain. And in that 7 hours down the mountain is before I hit civilization, for the most part, because businesses in that area, they don't stay there year round. They open up in late spring, summer, and they're out of there by end of November, something like that. Just hunting season, fishing season, all of that. So I thought, okay. So I did. I asked the angel, what is the worst? Like, what is a distressing issue that the water brings? What's wrong with the water? And it started to boil. The water started to boil, like like actually boil, like you're looking at a pot with boiling water, all the steam, everything, and you're looking at all these bubbles because it's boiling. And of course, I instantly said, I fell into prayer instantly, instantly. Fell to my knees and just fell into prayer instantly. And I went, oh, oh my goodness. And uh, as I and I was at the lake, and this lake is pretty much, I'm right in the middle of two lakes. and they're both about 15 minutes apart. No, from my house. So they would be like a half an hour apart from one another, but I could go 15 minutes either way, and beautiful. I mean, just crystal clear. I've seen some trout that just, it was so majestic. I was just like, God made everything perfect, and I could hear the humming inside the mountain. I know it sounds crazy, but anyway, it's like I could hear this hum. I could hear it talk. Uh, my girlfriend, that's become used to me. Just goes, really? I said, yeah. So at this point here, with the waters boiling, I went, wow, okay, that's it. And I started, I was still looking, and the waters were red. So that tells me iron is going to be here and be a predominant sign that doo doo's about to hit the fan in a really, really dangerous way. Bad as far as what humanity has to endure if we are not knowledge, if we don't have knowledge, if we're not knowledgeable, and we are completely unprepared. And I don't believe, okay, I'm going to be really straight out. There's times when I'm chatting with people that I feel so prompt to say, hey, look, you seem to think that this is going to be a walk in the park. Or you're just flat out saying, I want to die. Well, you're not dead, and God doesn't want you to die. God wants you to value your life and make the best of it. Help make these changes. Be part of the army. He doesn't want, go, okay, come on home. Fine, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out on my own. I'll do it on my own. Nah, we need to be all a part of these changes because otherwise we're doomed. Like, eh. So I'm looking at this water and I'm like, red, and it told me iron. I said, iron. Now there was myself and two other women standing on the sand in my vision, and I saw other people driving in with their trucks and their boats, and they said, we're going to get the hell out of here. And for whatever reason, they chose water before they chose our main road. So I think something happened to that main road. I don't know. I didn't scan that. And I'll tell you why I didn't scan that, because again I was in shock. Again I was brought to my knees. Again I'm there, battling depression, not being able to share this, and people are talking to me, and I'm having people over for dinner and or coffee or going out or saying hello, and I can't help but think, this is going to happen. How do I say anything to anybody? There's conversations going on of laughter and joy. And that's when I told myself, make the best out of every single moment. Do things that scare the bejesus out of you, that you're not so apt to do, such as making these beds, and do it. I that that I went. I don't wanna miss out on another second. That's where my passion for earning money and that monopoly, uh, it just no longer was a priority. What became my priority was conversation, people, making a difference, helping, laughing, crying, joking, um, uh, I realized in that moment I had better not have my priorities all screwed and be blinded by the material world and its expectation in order for it to reflect back at you that you are successful. When I know I'm successful because I know how to love. And I love love. And I love truth. And I love honesty. So much so that I made a decision to continue my relationship with God, stay true to the truth, and that is because it is who I am. I can't explain it any other way. Yeah. And so, and some people find it, oh yeah, tell me things like, well, you're going to be disappointed in me because I don't believe in God. And, I have to say things like, look, this is your path. I can't cram God down anybody's throat. I could say that God is real. I can say that Jesus is real. I can say aliens are real because I have experienced all of those. I can tell you time travel is weird. I can tell you jumping is real. There's, and this is all normal. People are so quick to put a label on it, but that's another video. That should be coming up right away because it really is about Jesus and the way that God made all of us. So these waters, they were putting it in the boat, and I was going, no, 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 you don't understand, no, 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 no. And while I was jumping up and down, going, don't, look, I love you, I care about you, why would I lie to you? You can't take the lake, you can't take the lake, you can't go that way. Well, they had gotten into the boat, and they didn't want to hear what I had to say at all cost. Well, they got as far out as maybe, not that far, not that far at all. I mean, they were still so close that, we can count the grass and vice versa. Now, that water that was boiling and it was red, um, because of the iron, it had something else there. I'm going to give you an example. That boat, it was in the water for, I don't know, maybe a minute, 2 minutes in total. It melted. It melted from the bottom up. It melted. And everybody on that boat died. It was like the boat began to melt, and then within, because like I said, the boat was out there maybe a minute, and within the next minute, everybody disintegrated. And I looked around, because that freaked me right out. I turned around and to see the other people that didn't go onto this boat, but they all came together with boats. And the two people that I was there, the one had said, "Well, that's not very good. That was our last hope." And I went, "You can still talk." And no sooner did I say that, each person that I saw just disintegrated. Less than 30 seconds. Just, woof, that was it. There was such a impact from the sun. And, oh, I have no words for that experience. I can't even begin to try to even explain that. My heart is in such a vice, and it just feels like it's squeezed and I can't breathe. And this information is so important. That's why I'm always going share, 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 share. It's so important. Now, my girlfriend, that is a best bud, I had shared this with her, and she looked at me and she said, "You're serious, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, I am." And then she said, "What did you see next?" I said, "Well, I was up in the sky, and I was helping people, directing them. Okay, you go here, you go there. You go here, you go there." And I remember, and they were all disorientated. They didn't know what happened. They didn't know that we perished. Yeah. And I remember telling people, it's okay, it'll be all right. Don't worry about this. There's a bigger plan. We've got this all worked out. Just, keep calm. And within moments, you'll have that feeling of knowing what just had happened, what's transpired, where we all are, and where do we go from there, and what do we do from that. So that was pretty heavy duty. So I told my girlfriend this, and when she said, like, "You're serious," and I said, "Yes," and these are one of the things that because she would always say, "You're so lucky that you can see that way," and I'd say, "No, it's not what people think." People think, "Oh, I'd make myself rich and I would have my lottery numbers, da da da." No, you don't. That's not what you want. It makes you so ill being able to see the truth about things and how fragile humanity is. So fragile. Our existence is so fragile. We have to nurture our existence, love our existence, acknowledge our existence if we are going to survive as people, as souls, as spirits. Yeah, it's tough work, but all worthy. All of it's worthy. All of it is. So she said, "When is this going to happen? Like, how much time do we have?" And I could see the fear in her eyes. I said, "Oh, don't worry about it." I said, "A few years yet." And she said, "Oh yeah. Well, how did you answer that so quickly? That you just that certain?" And I said, "I saw this woman. I saw so and so, and in my vision, her hair was like, almost all silver, some white, and you could tell underneath that she was dark, right? She's gone almost completely silver." When all of a sudden she smacks me on my arm and says, "She is all silver. That's bottled hair dye." Well, that just shut me up, shut her up, and she was driving, and we just sat in silence for a bit, both going, "Oh, that's not good," as far as a landmark goes. And so she did say to me, like, "Now what?" And I said, "Look, I quickly asked the angel, now what? Now, I had visions where I was there even after the fact." So I'm not getting if it's me that perished and I'm directing people. Is the timing different? Do I see the ice before I see the sun doing this? Now, what I heard on HLN is that, and this really sucks, like I'm talking huge sucks, you better brace yourself for this. They estimate that within the 10 years, 90%, 90, 90% of coral reef life is all dead. 90%. Now, I don't know if you know anything about the corals, the reefs. I don't know. I'm hoping, but if there's some of you out there that don't have any idea of how important to life, to sustaining life, those coral reefs, their job, what they do, we cannot afford as a species to have 90% of all coral reef die. That means we die. We die. No oxygen, no life in the oceans. Man, you know what? That's really running close to the tick 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 on the hour. Yeah. And I'm going, why? I mean, why am I seeing this? Like, it's all so painful. Yeah. 10 years. That's like not having bees. And bees pollinate. They pollinate so we could eat and, and sustain growth. We so need bees, and we so need coral reefs. Yeah, do your math. I really think that you should do your math. There's no point. I could have probably found it. No, do your math. You'll be happy you did. There's only a decade, only 10 years. That's really crappy. That's really crappy. So, when I heard this, I would have said, what's creating it? I would have asked myself that. But HLN went ahead and just flat out said, well, in 10 years, we estimate that 90% of coral life will be dead. And the reason being is because of the sun. And it's not like the sun is getting hotter, it's radiation. The protection that we had in between us and the sun, I think it was in the late 50s. Oopsie daisy, they tore a hole in the veil. They were never able to fix the problem and find a solution, but they found a temporary solution that no longer works for humanity and this planet, and they call this climate change. No. What they did is they had to create that Band-Aid. And that Band-Aid separated the sun from us. In between the sun and us, and it was to protect us of the radiation that the sun beams out. So it's not that the sun is hotter. The reason it's a different color, because even though you put up a Band-Aid, okay, it's like anything else. It's going to continue to rip. Now, I don't see anybody saying, oopsie daisy, remember that happens? Because, what? OMG, seriously. I mean, people have to know, that's why I'm making this video. But seriously, and that's for real, you don't have to take my word for it. Investigate it, check it out. You'll be happy you did. You'll go, huh, it's real. We're in big trouble. So I thought, wow, I saw the waters boil. They made sure that I knew the water was boiling and that it was full of iron. And I saw people disintegrate, like right before me in seconds. 10 seconds, like, just like that. Just, the only thing I could think of was, okay, that's not painful. A little shocking, disorientated, once you come out to the other side. Yeah. But at least humanity wasn't suffering. not all.